The day has finally come. It doesn't even feel real after 9 months of daily reporting on this second large stimulus bill. It's actually passed. Coming into last week, looking at the news and what the leaders were saying, it seemed like a whole lot of what we've seen before. Just some big promises, but mostly just a whole lot of hot air. But then the week went on and McConnell says expect a large package to be passed. Pelosi says expect a relief bill. Negotiations are getting closer and closer and closer. I'm sitting back thinking this weekend, wow, this is actually going to happen. This is going to pass. It's here. It's really here. Now, I know it's not quite as big and beautiful of a package as you might have hoped. It's not our ideal package size, but it's something. It's progress, and it just makes me happy to see something was actually done after months and months of nothing. And I would just also like to personally thank each and every one of you who has tuned in on a daily basis for the last nearly whole year. I wouldn't be here without you. I appreciate you so much. 105,000 subscribers right now. It's amazing. Now, without further ado, let's talk about what kinds of a relief we can expect with this bill that was just passed. We have everything from small business relief to stimulus checks and much more. This is going to be a general overview of all the stimulus items you can expect and you might receive from this bill. It's everything significant. I'm going to later go into more details on the checks and the business relief and just more specifics. So make sure you're subscribed so you can receive your stimulus payments as quickly as possible and know a little bit more about the programs that you might like to apply for. So starting off with stimulus checks. You likely know by now that this is going to be a $600 stimulus check per person and $600 checks for dependents. The size of the check decreases for those who earn more than $75,000 per year and then hits zero at $99,000 per year adjusted gross income. So it's $600 up to $75,000 a year, and then that scales down slowly to $99,000. And then it's $150,000 a year for joint filers, and that scales down to $200,000. The checks will still go to those who receive Social Security, SSI, and SSDI. If you receive those payments electronically, typically, you should receive that stimulus check electronically as well. Otherwise, you should receive that stimulus check in the mail, just like last time. The size of the checks has been a hot topic since the very beginning. We've heard everything from a flat $1,200 payment to other ideas like rent forgiveness to a reoccurring $2,000 per month stimulus and everything in between. Even recently, President Trump pushed for $2,000 one-time checks, but was convinced otherwise by his aides in order to get this bill through. It was just so close to not passing that, they said, hold off, let's just get something through here. On top of this, you can also still take advantage of the free stocks with Webull through the link in my description. All you need to do is deposit $100 into your account and you'll get 4 stocks totally free, but this offer ends really soon. You don't even have to spend the $100. I know I mentioned it a lot, but it's an awesome deal. From here, we have Jobless Benefits. We're looking at $300 per week boosts that could start as early as December 27th and run through at least March 14th. Right now, at least 20 million people are receiving unemployment, and this number has actually been increasing in recent months. So it's nice to know that those people are going to see some additional help very, very soon. Gig workers will still be eligible to receive the unemployment boost here, and I think we kind of forgot how much of a landmark change that was in how unemployment worked compared to the past. In the past, a 1099 worker, there's no way they would ever receive unemployment. So this is a pretty landmark thing, and that's extended for those gig workers and contractors as well. Now moving to small business relief. This one is really, really exciting. The bill includes another round of paycheck protection and business funding to the tune of about $325 billion. $284 billion of that will go directly to the Paycheck Protection Program for first and second round funding. Also, within the new bill, lawmakers have come to a resolution on the first round of paycheck protection loans and its tax consequence. This is huge, and it was really unexpected for me. A big issue cropped up where businesses who received a PPP loan and had it forgiven and they spent it on things they should spend it on, like payroll, would have to pay taxes on what they spent this money on. So it was kind of like you were having to pay taxes on your stimulus. Under the new guidance, though, these costs will be tax deductible as long as that small business showed a loss in revenue in 2020 compared to years before. I can't even express how huge that is. This is going to result in thousands and thousands of dollars in effective stimulus to businesses who are struggling without the government having to pay more in stimulus. So it was a great idea. Kudos to them. That's awesome. Also, a portion of the Paycheck Protection Funds will be slotted for very small businesses and minority businesses. That's really great to see, as well as larger businesses kind of dominated funding last time around, especially in the very first round of funding before they re-upped it. The bill will also include $15 billion for movie theaters and cultural institutions that were hard hit by the pandy that we're in. We're also looking at another round of EIDL grants, which was really unexpected for me, to the dollar amount of $20 billion. This is going to be huge as well, and you're going to hear a whole lot more about this if you're a small business owner, because it was pretty chaotic the first time around. We don't have a whole lot of details on how it's going to be dispersed this time, or the application, or anything like that. Hopefully they have this much more figured out than the last time. If you remember, a while back, we were tracking the SBA, and it was a mess. I'll have much more on that later. I'll have more videos on it later. Finally, we're looking at a tax credit to help employers who offer sick leave to employees. And moving on from here, we have rent assistance and eviction moratoriums. The rent moratorium has been extended for now until January 31st. Now, I say for now because this will likely be extended again. On top of this, we have $25 billion in emergency rental assistance. I will also have more on this later, as we don't have very specific details on it. The bill gives $48 billion to help with virus testing and the purchase and distribution of vaccines that will, quote, make the vaccine available at no charge for anyone who needs it. They're basically like Oprah, you get a vaccine, you get a vaccine. Now might be the time to buy some Pfizer stock, with all that money being pumped in by the government to buy everyone's vaccines. However, by now it's probably already gone up, so it might be too late, but you never know. We also have $82 billion to go to schools. Part of this will be to help cover HVAC repair and replacement to help reduce the risk of COVID infections in classrooms. On top of this, we have $10 billion for childcare assistance, and I'll have more on that later. I think that's really interesting as well. $13 billion is going to increased SNAP benefits through food stamps. That was a really hotly debated item on the ticket toward the end of negotiations. I'm really glad they had that figured out, because these people, they need food. You need food. $7 billion will go to help increase the access and accessibility of broadband internet. $45 billion is going to go to transportation, including $16 billion to the airlines through the Payroll Support Program, PSP. $1.4 billion will go to funding for Trump's border wall construction. So I guess he's building that thing after all. And there's going to be no additional aid for state and local governments at this time. However, there was an extension to the deadlines for previous funding through the CARES Act. So if a state has some funding left over, it's not just going to go away at the end of the year like it was going to. Now they have until next year to spend this additional funding. There will also be no new liability protections for entities. On this, McConnell said if there is another bill, which Democrats are hinting that they want another bill once the Biden inauguration is done with, he says this will be definitely included. If we think back a few months, McConnell was saying no bill will ever be passed without these liability protections for entities. Now, I think these liability protections are really important, and they were left out of this bill, so I hope to see that in a second bill, as well as another round of stimulus checks, some more unemployment boosts, things like that, that will be necessary as if the recovery doesn't speed up really quickly. And that's going to do it for all the main items on the bill. As I said, I'm going to be going much more in depth on many of these topics, so make sure you're subscribed. If you appreciate me notifying you as soon as these things happen, please hit that like button and share this video with your friends. Make sure they're informed as well. Make sure they can apply for all the stimulus items that might apply for them. And I would appreciate it so much. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.